It is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. What I want to do is I want to update you on what's going on out there in the world and essentially give you a warning and an opportunity to prepare yourself because what's coming it's already here, but more is coming. And the information that you're hearing out there from a lot of people is you need to get weapons. You need to prepare yourself to, basically go into battle. And what I'm saying from our philosophy, that's the last thing that you want to do. Sure, you should be able to do that. You should be able to fight and protect yourself, go to martial arts class, whether it be ninjutsu or jujitsu or any other martial art to get yourself fit, mentally tough, sharp, trained, all that. You should do that. But that's not, that's certainly not the real way to go. And what came out today was just released today from Ohio. Even though this happened March 28th, it was released today, was that in a Chipotle, two people came in. Apparently they were women. They came in and even though the article did not make that clear, from another source, it seems that it was women, two women, and they asked for extra cheese. And apparently they weren't given the extra cheese fast enough, or somebody wasn't doing what they thought that they should be doing behind the counter. And these people started to cause a ruckus. And so it says customers became angry over their orders, demanded more cheese, began harassing employees, even snatching the hat off of a female employee. And then the employees came in to help her, to defend her. A fight broke out, and then one of the suspects pulled a handgun, and the other said, "Shoot them." And fortunately, the gun malfunctioned, and so they couldn't. So they ransacked the entire place, knocked over tables and trash cans, and left the place a mess. Even stole somebody's cell phone before they ran out and drove away. Now, first of all, I've often said that if you're doing anything in retail, you should rethink that. Certainly, if you're working at a 7-Eleven, absolutely, if you're working at a 7-Eleven at night, you should do your best to get another job as fast as you can, because the likelihood that you're going to have some problem late at night is pretty high, in my opinion. So if you can avoid that, great. But still, retail, down by me in a mall in the last year and a half, there have been announcements where there was an armed person in a mall, in a Macy's, and people had to evacuate. People ran out, whether they given permission or not. They just ran. Employees, customers, everybody just took off. And so listen to the comments, some of the comments, like thousands of comments. I picked just a few. One said, "Parents are raising kids with too much self-centered pride and zero self-control." And another said that they completely disagree. Parents are not raising kids. People are having children, providing food and shelter, if you're lucky, and if the streets don't raise them, then the so-called educational system is. So both of those are really good points. And by the way, right now I'm going to invite you to like, share, and subscribe to this video and give it a thumbs up. Somebody else said, point blank, "It's Black people." The other said, "The behavior described is generally associated with a certain race." Another said, "Does the prefrontal cortex develop in a similar way in all people. Another said it was two women, the usual suspects. Ah, yes, Ohio, the Florida of the North. Another said the joy of diversity. Another said proving the stereotype accurate, crime by violent crime. Now let's get clear. This, to me, is not a video about a particular race or anything like that, but it is clear. And it is clear that you're not allowed to say that. I'm amazed that those comments were actually allowed on Yahoo because they want to censor everything. And that's what we're in the age of. But understand, it's all a certain type of mind control. And what we're doing here, what I'm doing here is I'm alerting you to the mind control and encouraging you to learn about psychological warfare, about psychological operations for your own benefit, but also the benefit of this country, because this country is under serious psychological warfare. It's been under it for a long time. And the thing is about psychological warfare is if you don't think you're under mind control, then you're definitely under mind control because it's invisible and you can't tell. And if you're convinced that you're not, you are. I mean, the best you could say is, well, I don't think I'm under that much mind control, or I'm probably under mind control, but for the most part, life is going pretty well. But to definitively say, oh, I'm definitely not under mind control. Yeah, you are. If you know you're not, then you are. And one of the things that they want to do in this country is pit race against race. That's kind of the next level of this psychological warfare, this mind control, is get race against race. And it's working pretty well. I mean, it's been going for a long time. But if you think about it, back in the 60s, there was it would say over or the 50s, the 40s, it would say colored people's water fountain, colored people's toilets, things like that. And we think that's terrible today. Like we say, oh, that's really terrible. But now, what do you hear in the media all the time? All the time in the media, you hear people of color, people of color, people of color. Well, isn't that colored people? So you've got this switching of the language just a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's okay. So we're not colored people, we're people of color. Oh, well, that's so different. Language is where a lot of this psychological warfare is going to happen. It's propaganda, in another word, and it's going to mess with people's minds. It's already messed with people's minds. Okay, you know who you if you're under the least amount of mind control, you know who you are. If you're convinced you're not under any, you're greatly mind controlled. And if you at least accept the fact that mind control happens, that it can happen to you, and it can happen to you and you not even know it. I mean, that's the whole point. Mind control is invisible. It's invisible. And that's what makes it so great, but that's what also makes it so very, very difficult to defend against. And one of the ways that you're being targeted is through language. I mean, language is one of the primary ways to direct someone's mind, control their emotions, control their behavior. Someone said to me a long time ago, probably 10 years ago, you could never get children to be homosexual or something if they're not. And I said, that's absolutely not true. I mean, if you can get to a very young child and continually tell them over and over and over again, hey, you're the opposite sex. Hey, you're really this. You're really that. I mean, if you keep doing that, you will very easily either convince them or at the very least confuse them Guaranteed. And it's funny because a lot of people, most people don't realize that. They've not thought about that. That you get that child 0 to 5 or so, and you put into their mind suggestions and thoughts and images and things, you or whoever's doing that can and will have a lifelong impact, negative or positive, on that child. And that's what we've got happening in this country. It's a disgrace, if you ask me. I mean, imagine all the children. Imagine what you could do with a child if you were to put in the right thoughts, the right suggestions, the right concepts, instead of the negative concepts, instead of the confusing thoughts and images and beliefs. But that's what's happening more and more. And it's coming from the very top, the power structure at the very top, and it's trickling down. And it's just unbelievable. So you see what happened in Ohio. That's just one example. This happens daily. We're seeing it all the time, whether it be at a restaurant, whether it be at what just happened at a Christian school, whether it be at a jewelry store. I mean, out where I am, and in Palo Alto, there's the Apple store. The Apple stores get ripped off repeatedly. I've even contacted the highest level of Apple in a written statement when they were harassing me personally with masks, while at the same time just allowing a certain group of people to walk into their store, rip all the machines right out of the walls, and walk out the door. Ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous. But it's all part of the mind control. It's all part of the brainwashing. I asked someone who's originally from Mexico, I said, what if that happened in Mexico? What if people just walked into a store and just started taking computers and iPhones? And what would the people in Mexico do? He said, oh, they'd fight them. They would definitely fight them. But not in Silicon Valley. They're just going to stand back. Even the employees are going to say, oh, stand back, everybody. Just let them do their thing. Don't interfere. Don't interfere. And sometimes there's not. In ninja philosophy, the first priority of the ninja is to win without fighting. You absolutely want to make it your first priority to win without fighting. Now, maybe Apple has a great way. Maybe they simply track all the products and prosecute the offenders later. I don't know. That's a possibility. And maybe that's their way of winning without fighting. But it's even better to win first without even having a conflict. And so one of the ways you got to do that, if you're working at a restaurant, somebody comes in, and by the way, they didn't get their extra cheese. They come in and they demand extra cheese and they're throwing a fit. You've got to have the language skills, the gestures, the body movement, the confidence, the calmness to be able to interact with a person so that you can have them do what you want them to do and not pull a handgun out on you. So I'm going to leave it there today. You've gotten a glimpse of what this channel is about. Again, I'm going to ask you to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, share. And if you want to donate, then please do that. Support this channel because I'm going to be giving you critical knowledge and information in order to stay safe and in order to take your life to the next level. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to click this thing, and I'll see you next time.